Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Hayden. I'm the owner of Trade in Tech, and I have somebody very special here for you today. This is my very good friend, Chris Sabeti. Now, I have worked with him for 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 years now. We've done a lot of business together, and we've done some pretty amazing things to shift the industry as well. So Chris is a huge player. He is the owner and the creator of PhoneCheck. So a lot of you guys use PhoneCheck. I mean, they currently have over 1,000 clients. So I know plenty of you who are watching this, love to hear from Chris if you haven't already heard from him already. So Chris, thank you so much for being on, man. I know, it's early in the day. We both have busy days ahead of us. So appreciate you taking this time at, 8 a.m. to get started. That's awesome. So, you just want to tell me a little bit about your story? I mean, guys, I'll tell you from the beginning. I met Chris. I lived in Phoenix, drove over to Los Angeles, California, and met him to buy phones. So this is how the relationship started for Chris and I. But you want to tell, a little bit about your business, where you started in the industry, what you evolved into before PhoneCheck happened?
Sure, right on, Hayden. Thanks for having me on, and
Awesome.
good to see you as always.
Always.
So yeah, I started in the mobile industry a little bit over 20 years ago. So I've been doing mobile, or I call myself a dinosaur in this industry. I've known it since inception. Honestly, since I remember the days where there was no digital service, right? Where Sprint initially had launched a campaign for the first digital actual cell phone service.
Yeah.
And I was working at a kiosk selling phones that had no service yet.
Hey, that's crazy.
So you couldn't use them yet, but we were already selling them. So, my roots go back to the very beginning of this industry. And, I started off, working in retail, moving on to doing business to business sales and developing strategies for, various carriers like, Sprint and Nextel. And a lot of those strategies are still being used today by the corporations.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I know PhoneCheck has, been a huge part of the industry and really, really, expanded and changed a lot of things. I mean, you were definitely one of the first to market, especially in the mobile side of the industry. So how did PhoneCheck start? First off, where did you get the idea? Because everything you built is from scratch, from the bottom. There's nobody you can copy. This isn't some type of word, press template that you can just paste up on the internet and sell again. So you had to create something pretty, impressive. Like, what gave you the idea? How did you get started with that?
I guess the best way to describe it is from self trials, tribulations, and pain.
For real. For real.
We all know from being in this industry, it's there was nothing available for us to do our jobs properly. And if you can't tell what you have, if you can't remove the blinders of what is it that I'm actually holding, you don't know the value of it. You don't know the true value, or how to honestly make the best decisions to turn a profit, right? Which is why we're in business.
Yeah, most definitely.
So yeah, through a lot of just trials and tribulations from going through the industry. So when there was a shift in the market that happened around, I'd say 2008, and iPhone started to come out. Equipment costs were going up. Subsidies from carriers were starting to go down. So people that were have been around in the industry for a while will understand what subsidies were. And things took a swing, and I took about a year to kind of decide what I was going to do in between. And I thought the equipment side of the market was a great opportunity. And as I got into it, I started to realize all the challenges that everyone else in this industry has faced at some point in time. And I realized them on a different level or a different scale, because my operation that I had, or my operation within the mobile trade industry, was retail, and it was multi-location retail, which is one of the most difficult things you could try to do.
Amen to that, of course.
So I was tasked with something very complex, which is how can I objectify the money that I'm spending to purchase devices, right? So we had a little bit over 100 employees, over 15 locations. This was throughout California, and if everything left up to the person, who was actually working at the locations, ended up being an error, and every error was a cost in money. And I remember the first year we sat back after expansion, we sat back and I looked at the losses, and my losses had accumulated to over $500,000 in cash.
Dang, oh man.
Because you had to pay people for the incentive, right, of
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 course.
selling you their phone. And once you bought it, there's nobody to go back to.
Yeah, of
That
course.
money's gone. So without an objective solution, something that people didn't have the opportunity to get wrong or do improperly, I saw this loss, and this loss was going to continue to evolve.
Yeah.
Um, so
That's amazing, man. That is absolutely crazy. So for everybody who knows this industry, and every problem you face is that phones have defects. It's a simple way to put it. And Chris was so upset to the tune of $500,000, pretty straightforward there, that he decided to create a solution for everybody. So if you guys haven't already seen PhoneCheck, if you haven't used it already, it's the #1 diagnostics software and data eraser for all platforms, all devices, iOS and Android in the industry. We're going to show you a demo about it. I just want to keep going, Chris, man. You got so much insight, very advanced knowledge. A lot of us are just in the industry doing day-to-day things. Chris is here stepping back, looking at the entire industry, how it's evolved, and how he's going to change it in the future as well for everybody to come. So that's one thing I want to talk about right now is, how do you think this industry is going to change over time? And really, what do you see in the future as we go here? Because a lot has changed in the last 10 years so far. What do you expect for the next 10 years?
Sure. Right on. So the industry's already seen great growth, and it's continuing to grow. And it's a beautiful thing to see, right? It's a great place to be, knowing that you have an industry that's on a trajectory, right? So I think that over the next 10 years, we're going to see, tremendous growth within the industry. People that have, done their work to build good relationships, create efficient processing streams, and channels, sales channels, I think are going to continue to see increased profits and increased growth. So I think it's a great place to be. I love the industry. I think it's a wonderful industry. And I think we're going to see we're going to continue to see a lot more demand.
Most definitely. I agree. And so, guys, I can tell you, I work with a lot of large companies as well in this industry. And the ones that are doing the best, #1, they do have multi-channel solutions, which means they're selling on Amazon, eBay, all these other things. This really helps from a cash flow standpoint, and for when it comes to selling stock in numerous different places. So on top of that, the back end is pretty complicated for these types of businesses. So companies like PhoneCheck and companies, that work with people like Chris, solve these types of problems, whether it's quality control, inventory management, all those types of things. So let's talk about PhoneCheck, because you started a couple years ago and you've exploded. Guys, when PhoneCheck first started, you pounded the pavement hard. First off, to get the first 10, 20, 30 clients, you worked hard. I know that as a fact. The follow-up was crazy. So what took you from the first 10, 20 clients, a few years ago, 3, 4 years ago, to over 1,000 right now where you have? What was the big thing that made the difference?
Sure. So even today, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, and I talk about this as I talk to people in the industry, or people that come in or get referred to PhoneCheck. So to date, I still talk to customers and clients. My phone line is open. Email, text messages to people within the industry, because this is the heartbeat of what we do. These are the people that we service, and there's nobody more important, right?
Definitely.
So I like to make myself available. I love to help build good relationships and help people accomplish what their goals are, even outside of just what PhoneCheck offers. Everything we've done is to turn, we really try to take whatever we can and reinvest it back into adding additional benefit to customers. Those are some of the things that we're, potentially talk about later. But, we have a very small sales team. We focused on customers. We were super customer centric. I was obsessed with my customers. Everything everything they said, all their feedback, everything was taken in and was really digested. And we adopted a method of growth where the company split into two channels. And one of the channels was dedicated to our own internal projects, right? Things that we knew that are really going to help, and things that we wanted to see come to fruition. And the other side of it was all facing customers, right? And what customers ask for, and this has continued to happen and still happens, what customers ask for, they get. And
Yeah, of course.
we don't charge for it. This is just, it's an advancement for the overall industry where everybody gets to add into the pot and, create advantages for themselves, for the industry. And that's what I think is probably the biggest, what made the most difference in what we did in our growth. So to date, we have a really small sales team. We have two guys.
That's all you need, though. It's really all you need when you pay attention to the customers. They'll come on their own.
Right. And most people come to us through, through word of mouth. That's where almost every customer's heard about us. There's very little to no advertising that really happens outside of like a website. Right.
Of course. Guys, that's amazing, Chris. I mean, first off, guys, I'll tell you with PhoneCheck, there's a lot of benefits. Chris didn't just make something that costs money, actually makes something that makes people more money. So you guys will see us, if you're advanced in the industry, if you advertise ever, you're going to see people who are selling devices that are PhoneCheck certified. Those people do sell those devices for a higher value because they are certified by PhoneCheck and they've been tested properly and they're guaranteed on that end. Okay, so pay attention to that if you ever see those, because those are the types of vendors that are earning a higher amount dollar value per item because of this certification. And Chris has been able to solve that problem, on the quality control side. And everybody knows, you're willing to pay over $1,000 for an iPhone at Apple because their quality is, the highest level it can possibly be. So Chris's standards at PhoneCheck, those meet the same type of quality standards as Apple. So, Chris, I know you got a busy day ahead of you, and we've been on for quite a few minutes here. Can you give us some last advice? What do you give advice to the people in the industry, people who are growing right now? I know you work with a lot of large enterprise companies and corporations. So for a company that's smaller that wants to start scaling, what are the type of processes and, just advice you would give them to grow for the next 10 years?
Of course. I think like anybody starting out in the industry, it starts out with just grit. You got to work hard. You have to learn, you have to find your niche market. And as you see yourself start to grow, I think it's really important to automate the processing or the back end side of the business so that the owner's focus could be on growth. It could be on sales. It could be on building relationships. And it's very difficult to do that. Coming from someone that lived in this industry, it's very difficult to do that by, hoping that things are being processed the right way or shipping product that just ends up coming back. These are friction that hold you back. So when you try to take 5 or 10 steps forward, you end up actually sitting in the same place or even worse than you were before. Some of my best advice, and it'll be a little bit biased because, I'm part of PhoneCheck, but I would say this regardless. A trusted third-party certification has proven historically to accelerate industry's growth to its potential. Okay. Just like Carfax did for automotive, right?
Yeah, big time.
A lot less people would be purchasing used cars if they didn't understand or didn't know what they were actually buying.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I agree with that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
love it, man. You're exactly right.
And this is an area that I'm really passionate about, and I try to help this come across in many of my conversations throughout the industry. But along with trust comes more trade. It becomes more product demand, higher resale values, and better profitability and opportunity to everyone involved in the industry, right?
Of course.
So I think that the adoption of an industry standard like PhoneCheck, and PhoneCheck today is the leader in the space, as you mentioned, but the adoption of an industry standard that people can actually trust, to me, is probably one, outside of just the demand for the product, but it's probably one of the biggest accelerators that this industry can see. And that's where, I think people, need to start to look into and understand what kind of return on investment. It may not be great for everybody, right? Maybe you have a different type of niche product, and if it's not, at least you're educated that way. But I really urge everybody, no matter what, just educate yourselves. You're in an industry. Why not know what's available for you? Why not understand what's out there, and then sit back and make the best decision for yourself and for your business. So my best advice is that, we designed our mission to be around building trust within the industry and between buyers and sellers.
Of course.
And my biggest advice is, obviously do everything ethically and do everything with honesty. And also, think about investing into a standard and help the industry continue to grow so that all of us can continue to prosper. And I think that's the way that we reach our, we reach our true potential.
That's great. That's amazing, Chris. I love it, guys. So I will tell you, everybody, from personal experience too, there are 3 things that are mandatory in this industry for the type of systems that you need. Number 1 is accounting. You need to know your numbers, your order management, your expenses. Number 2 is inventory management. And the third most important one is quality control. And so Chris at PhoneCheck solves the quality controls issues that every single person has faced in this industry. You are not alone, and you are not soloed out on this as well. So Chris, I mean, that's phenomenal. You've done some amazing things, and I know thousands of people already back you in the mission that you're doing. So you're going to see a lot more in the future to come. I can promise you that. There are very few that go out there and innovate the industry and change industries for the better for people. But as you'll see, as companies grow, those are the ones that always win in the long run. So everybody will definitely want to get in touch with you. So I'm going to leave some links below, but what is the best way for them to get in touch with you or reach out to PhoneCheck to maybe test out a demo, see everything that you have?
Sure. Absolutely. Website's probably the best way to go out and make a contact, right? Fill out the contact form, and somebody will reach out and set up a, 20 to 30 minute consultation and just listen to what you're doing, what your challenges are, and try to help you understand how you can better and improve them and get over them. To reach me directly, you're welcome to post my email address. And people can reach out to me. I'm around every day.
Awesome. Sounds good. So guys, I'll put that information on the screen as you can see right now. Chris, other than that, thank you so much. What we're going to do right now at the end of this video is I'm actually going to play a PhoneCheck demo. So I'm going to play that for everybody, and they can get started at the end as well, just so you can see what PhoneCheck has to offer. Other than that, guys, you can get started on PhoneCheck.com. Check it out for sure. At least try a demo, because I can tell you it's very beneficial in the industry to have something like this. Chris, any last comments you have, my man? Anything?
I hope everyone's staying safe out there. I know challenging times. Everyone's working from home. I got small kids, so I'm trying to find a corner room where I can do these things
early in the morning.
Yeah, quietly outside of all the kids and the activity, being home from school and whatnot. But I hope everyone's staying safe out there. I think that good things are looking to come. The industry's definitely starting to rebound, just like a lot of the economy and thing is. So I'm seeing really good things, and I think that we're in a great place and a good place to be. So I hope everyone's staying safe. I appreciate the chance to being on and, talking with everyone.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Guys, again, this is Chris Sabeti with PhoneCheck, one of my very good friends. I back him with everything that I hold and stand for. So thank you again, Chris, so much for being on here. Make sure to stay and watch this video at the end for PhoneCheck demo as well. Other than that, have a good day, and I'll see you guys around.
PhoneCheck is the industry leader in used device certification. Our platform is an all-in-one solution for authentication, diagnostics, and ADISA accredited data erasure. It's designed specifically for high-volume wholesalers, processing anywhere from a few hundred to thousands of devices a month.
We've optimized PhoneCheck to scan multiple devices simultaneously from any Mac or PC. It's fully automated and works with any Apple or Android device. we're able to skip activation workflows and immediately check for any manufacturer or software logs. Then, using the unique IMEI, our background check authenticates the device and confirms it has not been reported lost, stolen, or is on any known blacklists. A complete device-specific diagnostic is run to ensure functionality and battery capacity. The device is then securely wiped to meet ADISA's rigid data removal standards. A PhoneCheck report is generated and labels are automatically printed, which integrate with your inventory tracking systems. And this is all stored on the PhoneCheck cloud, which you can access through your client dashboard.
We're increasing profitability for clients worldwide by bringing trust and transparency to the secondary market.